The big meeting room was full of noise. 47 different alien species sat in their chairs talking and arguing. The humans had their own section near the back. Ambassador Jake Morrison sat very still in his chair. His face looked angry as he listened to the blue-skinned Zephyrian leader talk. "The humans are too dangerous," the Zephyrian said in his high voice. "They build too many warships, they make too many colonies on new planets." Next to Jake, Commander Lisa Hayes looked at her small computer. It had all the papers the humans wanted to show today. For 3 long years, the aliens had been saying the same things about humans. They were scared because humans grew fast and were good at many things. The aliens wanted to keep humans in just a small part of space. The crystal alien stood up next. Its body was clear like glass and shined in the light. The machine that changed its words to human language made a buzzing sound. Humans signed the expansion rules 10 years ago. Now they have hundreds of colonies. That is too many. They broke their promise. Jake felt his hands get tight. He had been listening to this for hours. But when the bird-like alien said something about controlling how many human babies could be born, Jake felt very angry. They were talking about humans like they were animals in a zoo. Jake stood up fast. His chair made a loud scraping sound on the floor. Everyone in the big room heard it and looked at him. "Stop," Jake said. His voice was not loud, but everyone could hear him clearly. "We came here to be friends and work together. We did not come here to be told what to do like children." The room became very quiet. Commander Hayes stood up too. Then all the other humans in their group stood up. Economic helper Pete Johnson closed his briefcase. The clicking sound was very loud in the quiet room. Cultural worker Amy Foster picked up all her papers. She looked right at the aliens who had been talking about humans all morning like they were not even there. "The United Earth Coalition is leaving the Galactic Council," Jake said in a clear voice. "We are leaving right now." The alien leaders looked shocked. Their eyes were wide and their mouths hung open. Some started talking fast to each other. The Zephyrian leader stood up and waved his blue arms. "You cannot just leave," the crystal alien said. Its voice sounded worried through the translator. "There are rules, there are papers to sign." Jake shook his head. "We already signed too many papers. Papers that said we had to ask permission to protect ourselves. Papers that said we could only live on certain planets. Papers that treated us like we were your pets." Lisa Hayes stepped forward. "For 3 years we tried to be good members of this council. We shared our medicine to help sick aliens. We shared our food growing methods when your people were hungry. We protected your trade ships from pirates. And what did we get back?" She pointed at the aliens around the room. "You complained that we were too successful. You said we grew too fast. You wanted to control how many children we could have. You treated our friendship like it was a threat." The bird alien flapped its wings nervously. "But the balance of power in the galaxy, the balance was never equal," Pete Johnson said as he walked toward the door. "We gave much more than we ever received. We were tired of pretending this was fair." Amy Foster stopped at the door and turned back to look at all the aliens. "You made a big mistake today. You forgot that friendship works both ways. You forgot that we had a choice." The human delegation walked out together. Their footsteps echoed in the hallway as they left. Behind them, the council chamber erupted in loud voices. Aliens were shouting at each other, blaming each other, trying to figure out what to do next. On the transport ship taking them away from the council station, Jake looked out the window at the stars. "Do you think we did the right thing?" Lisa asked him. Jake nodded. "They never saw us as equals. They only saw us as something to control. Maybe now they will learn what they lost." Meanwhile, back in the council chamber, emergency messages were already being sent across the galaxy. The news spread like fire through space. Humans had walked out. Humans had left the council. Humans were no longer bound by any of the rules. The Zephyrian leader sat down hard in his chair. Most of his people's money came from selling things to human colonies. The crystal aliens looked at each other with worry. Their mining equipment was built by human engineers. The bird aliens were thinking about their farms that used human growing methods. In government buildings across dozens of worlds, Alien leaders were asking the same question. What do we do now? Some tried to send quick messages to the human transport ship, begging them to come back. But Jake had turned off all communication. The humans were going home, and they were not listening to any more alien demands. The panic was just beginning. As soon as the human ship left the council station, bad things started happening everywhere in the galaxy. On the main communication deck of the station, the alien worker named Zixith watched his screens with fear. Warning lights were flashing, red on 46 different alien communication networks. Everyone was sending emergency messages. The first big problem happened with the blue Zephyrians. Their money system crashed in just a few hours. Most of their expensive art and pretty things were sold to human colonies. The humans loved to buy alien paintings, music, and jewelry. Now that humans were gone, no one else wanted these things. The Zephyrian shops were empty. People lost their jobs. The blue alien leader sat at his desk looking at papers that showed how bad everything was getting. He realized too late that making enemies with their best customers was a terrible mistake. On a mining planet far away, the crystal aliens had to stop all their work. The big machines that dug up valuable metals from the ground were built by human engineers. Only humans knew how to fix them when they broke. Only human factories could make the parts needed to keep them running. Now the crystal aliens looked at their broken machines and did not know what to do. Their own technology was not good enough for the hard work of deep mining. In space, Admiral Rex Sullivan got a message on his warship called the Manhattan. The message told him to bring all human military ships back to human space right away. Rex had been protecting the trade routes where alien merchant ships carried goods from planet to planet. Human warships were strong and fast. They could fight off the space pirates that tried to steal cargo. The alien military ships were not very good at this job. As Rex ordered his fleet to go home, he smiled a little. It was funny that the same human warships the aliens complained about were the ships that kept alien traders safe. Dr. Karen Blake was the head of human medical programs. Her office computer was making noise all day with emergency calls from alien hospitals. Human doctors had been teaching aliens how to cure diseases that killed millions of alien people every year. Human medicine could fix cancers and heart problems that alien doctors could not treat. Now the alien hospitals were calling and begging for help. They were scared that sick aliens would die without human doctors and human medicine. The bird aliens called an emergency meeting of their government. Their food situation was getting very bad, very fast. Human farming experts had taught them how to grow 3 times more food on their planets. Humans showed them how to plant different crops in rotation to keep the soil healthy. Humans taught them how to make the soil better with special treatments. Now, without human help, their farms were failing. The bird alien leaders were scared that their people would starve within 1 year. But the problems were getting worse in other ways too. Space pirates were attacking more trade ships because they knew the aliens could not protect themselves without human help. The Silicon Rock aliens, who usually stayed neutral in politics, sent an emergency message asking for human military protection. They had lost 12 cargo ships full of valuable goods in just 1 week. Their own military was too weak to stop the pirates. On the water world of the aquatic aliens, their leader called an emergency council meeting. The humans were right to leave, he said to his advisors. We treated them badly when they were the ones helping us the most. The water aliens decided they would also leave the Galactic Council and try to make their own deal with the humans. The insect aliens on their hive worlds were having food riots. Without human agricultural science, their food production dropped by half. Millions of worker insects were hungry and angry. The insect queens were fighting each other about whose fault it was. Even the robot aliens were having trouble. Human computer experts had been helping them upgrade their technology. Now their systems were getting old and slow, and they did not know how to fix them. Back on the council station, the remaining alien leaders were shouting at each other. Everyone was blaming everyone else for the disaster. The Zephyrian leader pointed at the crystal alien and said, "This is your fault for complaining about human expansion." The crystal alien pointed back and said, "You were the one who said humans were dangerous." The bird alien was flapping its wings nervously. "We need to get the humans back," it said. "We need to say we are sorry." But it was too late for easy fixes. The human ship was already far away, and Jake Morrison had turned off all communication channels. The humans were not listening to any alien messages. Emergency news reports were being broadcast on every alien world. The headlines all said the same thing. Humans leave Council, economic crisis begins. Alien families watched their news screens with worry, wondering what would happen to their jobs, their medicine, their food, and their safety. The panic was spreading faster than anyone thought possible. In just one day, the aliens learned how much they needed the humans. But the humans were gone, and no one knew if they would ever come back. 3 months had passed since the humans walked out of the Council. The galaxy was falling apart. Ambassador Jake Morrison stood in his office on Luna Station, a big space station near Earth. He could see Earth turning slowly below him as he read reports that would have been impossible to believe just 1 year ago. The Blue Zephyrian government had been overthrown. Their economy crashed so badly that the people got angry and threw out their leaders. The new Zephyrian government was desperately trying to contact human colonies directly. They were offering the humans much better trade deals than they ever had when humans were in the Council. Jake found this very ironic. Now the aliens wanted to give humans what they had always deserved. Captain Steve Parker was in charge of protecting the human colony called New Geneva when something unexpected happened. A big fleet of crystal alien ships arrived, but they were not there to fight. Their weapons were turned off, and they kept sending the same message over and over. "We need help urgently. Our important systems are breaking down. We will agree to any terms you want." The crystal aliens were in serious trouble. Without human engineers to fix their mining equipment, their whole civilization was slowly shutting down. They needed the metals and rare materials from their mines to power their cities and feed their people. Now their machines were broken, and they did not know how to fix them. The bird aliens were facing something even worse than money problems. Their strict social system could not handle the sudden loss of human farming help. Entire planets were running out of food, while their leaders argued about who was to blame for the disaster. The bird alien military had to use force to stop food riots on 12 different worlds. But the worst problem was with security in space. Pirate attacks had increased by 300%. Criminal groups realized that the alien military forces were too weak to protect trade ships without human help. Space bandits were getting bold and attacking bigger and bigger ships. Some were even attacking passenger ships full of alien families. The Silicon Rock aliens, who had always stayed out of Council politics, formally asked for human military protection. They had never taken sides before, but they could not ignore losing 12 merchant ships in 1 week. Their own warships were too slow and too weak to fight the fast pirate ships. Colonel Danny Murphy was reading intelligence reports that showed massive movements of alien populations across space. Millions of aliens were leaving their homeworlds and trying to get to human territory. Refugee ships packed with hungry, scared aliens were heading toward human colonies, hoping humans would take care of them. Only humans seemed able to provide the safety and resources that aliens needed to survive. The old Galactic Council was breaking apart. Smaller alien species that had stayed quiet during the debates about humans were now openly criticizing the big alien powers. They were angry that the major species had driven away the humans. The water aliens had already officially left the Council. 6 other small alien groups announced they were also leaving and wanted to make their own deals with humans. On the insect hive worlds, the situation was getting desperate. Without human food science, their crops were failing badly. The insect queens were fighting each other in actual wars over the remaining food supplies. Billions of worker insects were starving, and some hive cities had been completely abandoned. The robot aliens were experiencing system failures across their entire civilization. Human computer experts had been quietly upgrading their technology for years. Now their old systems were crashing and they could not fix them. Some robot cities had gone completely dark, with no power or communication. Even more embarrassing for the aliens was what happened with medicine. Alien hospitals were reporting thousands of deaths from diseases that human medicine could easily cure. Cancer patients, heart disease sufferers, and victims of genetic disorders were dying because they no longer had access to human medical treatments. Alien doctors were helpless to save patients they had been curing successfully just months before. Panic had turned into something much worse: complete social breakdown on many worlds. Some alien governments were collapsing entirely. Others were declaring martial law to keep order. The proud alien civilizations that had lectured humans about being too aggressive were now using violence against their own people just to maintain control. Jake Morrison received daily reports about alien delegations trying to reach human space. But they were not coming as proud council members anymore. They were coming as beggars, offering anything humans wanted in exchange for help. Some were offering to give humans entire star systems. Others were offering to become human colonies themselves. The irony was not lost on Jake. For years, the aliens had complained that humans were expanding too fast and taking too much space. Now they were literally offering to give humans their own worlds just to get human protection and aid. Captain Steve Parker reported that human military commanders across the galaxy were being contacted by alien governments, offering huge payments for protection services. Some aliens were offering to pay 10 times more than the standard rate if human ships would protect their trade routes. Dr. Karen Blake was getting thousands of emergency medical requests every day. Alien hospitals were offering unlimited resources and funding if human doctors would come back and treat their patients. Some were offering to make humans the heads of their entire medical systems. The most shocking development was that some alien species were asking to become human protectorates, essentially giving up their independence to become human territories in exchange for human protection and support. These were the same species that had argued humans were too dangerous to be trusted with expansion rights. Back on Earth, human leaders were meeting to decide what to do about all these desperate requests for help. The situation had reversed completely. Instead of humans begging aliens for acceptance, aliens were now begging humans for survival. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson about what happens when you take friendship for granted. The aliens had thought they could control and limit humanity, while still benefiting from human skills and resources. They had been wrong, and now they were paying the price. The panic that started when humans walked out had become a complete collapse of the old galactic order. The question now was whether humans would be merciful enough to help rebuild it. 6 months after walking out of the Galactic Council, humans found themselves in a position none of them had expected. The meeting room on the big human diplomatic ship called Liberty was full of alien representatives. 18 different alien species had come to ask for individual partnerships with the United Earth Coalition. But this time, everything was different. Ambassador Jake Morrison no longer sat like someone asking for favors. The aliens across from him waited nervously for his words. Their own survival often depended on what he decided. The power had completely switched around. Now the aliens needed humans more than humans needed aliens. Commander Lisa Hayes stood up and presented the new terms that would change how the galaxy worked. Human protection fleets would start guarding alien trade routes again, but only under human command. Human doctors and farmers would continue helping aliens, but humans would get guaranteed access to all the technologies and resources they needed for their own expansion. Human colonies would trade freely and would never again accept limits on their growth or development. The new agreements were different from the old council system. Each alien species had to negotiate directly with humans based on what they could offer and what they needed. There would be no more group decisions where aliens could gang up on humans. Every deal was one-on-one, and humans held all the power. The Blue Zephyrians were first to sign. They traded their rare minerals and beautiful artwork for human protection and medical support. Their new leader, a humble alien named Kekstar, was very different from the proud chancellor who had insulted humans months before. "We are grateful for this opportunity," he said, bowing his blue head. "We understand now that we made terrible mistakes." The crystal aliens provided their manufacturing facilities in exchange for human engineering expertise. Their speaker, now much more polite than before, offered humans complete control over their industrial planets. "We cannot survive without human knowledge," the crystal alien admitted. "We place ourselves under human guidance." The water aliens, who had been smart enough to leave the old council early, got the best deal. They offered their ocean worlds as research stations in return for human agricultural technology. Their leader smiled as he signed the agreement. "We chose the winning side early," he said to Jake. "We hope humans remember this friendship." Dr. Karen Blake established the human-led medical consortium. Alien species would provide resources and facilities, but human researchers would control all breakthrough treatments and how they were distributed. The old system where humans shared everything freely was over. Now aliens had to earn access to human medicine by contributing something valuable. "We learned from our mistake," Dr. Blake explained to the alien medical representatives. "Before, we gave away our knowledge for free and got nothing in return. Now everyone contributes fairly, or they get no benefits." Captain Steve Parker commanded the new Terran Security Network. This was a fleet structure that provided protection across 12 star systems. Unlike the old Council's weak peacekeeping forces, the human-led military operated with clear authority and decisive action. When pirates attacked alien ships, human captains could respond immediately without asking permission from committees. The results were dramatic. Piracy dropped to the lowest levels in galactic history within 3 months. The human military was efficient, well-trained, and properly equipped. Most importantly, they were not afraid to use force when necessary. Pirates learned quickly that attacking ships under human protection was a very bad idea. The old Galactic Council still existed, but it was now just a shadow of what it used to be. Only the major alien species that had driven humans away remained in it. The Zephyrians, crystal aliens, and bird aliens found themselves increasingly isolated. Their economies continued to shrink as more species abandoned the council structure for direct human partnerships. Economic advisor Pete Johnson's reports showed numbers that told the real story. Human gross domestic product had increased by 40% since leaving the council. At the same time, the combined economic output of former council species had dropped by 60%. Free from artificial restrictions, human colonies expanded at rates never seen before. They established new trade routes and resource extraction operations across previously unexplored regions of space. The galaxy had learned a harsh lesson about friendship and dependence. The aliens had dismissed humans as newcomers who should be grateful for inclusion. They failed to recognize that humans had become the foundation holding everything together. When that foundation walked away, the entire structure collapsed. Now, as Jake Morrison signed the final partnership agreement with the Silicon Rock aliens, he thought about how dramatically everything had changed. Humans no longer begged for a seat at the table. They had built their own table, and everyone else was asking for an invitation to join them. The Silicon aliens were particularly interesting because they had always been neutral before. Their leader, a massive rock creature named Boulder 7, spoke through a new translator that humans had built for them. "We stayed neutral for too long," Boulder 7 admitted. "We see now that neutrality was foolish when one side was clearly superior." Even the proud bird aliens eventually came asking for help. Their agricultural crisis had become so severe that millions of their people were starving. Their leader, a golden-feathered alien called Skysinger, had to humble himself before humans he had previously looked down upon. "We were wrong about breeding restrictions," Skysinger said, his voice barely a whisper. "We see now that human expansion was not a threat but a blessing. Please, help our people survive." Jake looked at the bird alien leader with no anger, only pity. "We will help," he said, "but under our terms, with our methods, and with proper respect for human contribution." The new galactic order was emerging with humanity at its center. This had not happened through conquest or war, but through simple economic and practical necessity. Humans had proven that sometimes the most powerful move was not fighting the system, but walking away from it entirely and letting it collapse under its own contradictions. The panic that had spread instantly when humans walked out had given way to a new reality. Human approval had become the most valuable commodity in the galaxy. Alien species competed with each other to offer humans the best deals. The tables had turned completely. As Jake looked out at the stars through the window of the Liberty, he smiled. The galaxy was finally working the way it should have from the beginning, with mutual respect, fair trade, and recognition of human contributions. The new order was better for everyone, including the aliens who had learned to appreciate what they had lost.